Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. We're here with a new camera.
Well,
old camera, but newly using it.
We were using a another more expensive camera, and it sucks. So we're gonna have to look into that before anything. We have Wendy's.
We have breakfast wedges.
Well, I have a coffee, and she has Wendy's.
I don't know if there is breakfast wedges in the States or if it's like tater tots, but breakfast wedges.
You know what? I've said it before. Wendy's has good coffee. They actually do. They were giving out their
probably
free
not in
coffee.
America though.
Yeah, maybe not. It's maybe not the same, but they were giving out their free coffee, and I'm like,
You should have got it more often.
It's very good. I will not lie. I will never come here to get it, but it is good when we do come here. So I just thought I'd add that.
Canada's known for good coffee. I'm sorry, America, but you guys do not have good coffee. And I see why everyone has Starbucks, because that's the only consistent coffee around the world. Just like McDonald's food is consistent around the world. Starbucks is the only place in America with good coffee. I'm sorry. Dunkin's gross. Everything's gross.
But I will say sometimes though, when I've been to the States and got McDonald's, oh my god, that's not even illegal.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
You're guzzling that.
Oh, I should have said no ice because this is so good. Oh my gosh.
Anyway, I've had McDonald's in the States, and I feel like sometimes it tastes a little better.
Their Taco Bell. Oh!
Dude, I don't know why.
I don't know why.
Because they have all those chemicals.
They probably put extra grease in it.
Oh, I love it though. It's so good.
It's so good. Fast food, they're so good, but your coffee isn't good. But everything else is so good.
Everything
like,
else
so
is so good.
Everything is better in America.
Like the McDonald's
except healthcare.
there.
Well, actually, no. Your healthcare is better. Actually.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say.
Your healthcare is better.
Yeah.
What did I say? I mean, I think free healthcare is what I meant.
Yeah, the cost of healthcare.
The cost of healthcare, but your healthcare is better.
Pay for it.
True. Your healthcare is better though.
Their taxes are better.
Everything's better in America, except the people. Oh!
No, that's.
Are we canceled?
That's not true.
Yeah, they're not as nice.
That is true.
I love a lot of Americans, but you guys are not as nice. Like when I'm there, people are just mean for no reason. There's a lot of Karens.
Depends where you are.
True.
I found we go to the states that are not probably.
Florida is the one I'm talking about, but I think Florida's known for that.
But we've said that before.
Okay, anyways, this is a Frosty-cchino.
Yes.
We already have hate comments.
Remember we said that on camera before? We said like customer service in Florida, whatever. And I wasn't just talking about fast food chains. I was talking about in general. Their customer service is just not good.
I mean, we're known for being nice, and it's true. But we're also being mean right now.
But I will say remember in Ohio where we went to Olive Garden?
Oh my god,
we
amazing.
had bomb
I think it's just
service.
like...
Depends where you are.
I mean, it depends where you are, even in Canada. It depends where you are everywhere in the world, right?
Because like you go to a Tim Hortons
like
here,
one bad person can make you feel like everything's bad.
But you go to a Tim Hortons here and they have terrible customer
horrible.
service. And their food is inconsistent as hell. Like
oh my god.
So, you can't say that.
Yeah, you're right. This is a croissant breakfast sandwich with a sausage and an egg, and then I replaced the Swiss cheese because it's like a sauce. It's not even like a cheese, with like a processed cheese. We know we're gonna have a lot of people defending America in the comments.
She said it wrong.
But I said it wrong.
We're like watch up until now before you comment.
They're not going to. No. They never do. They won't even play the video and they'll just be mean.
All I can say, like this would be my final opinion about that, and I know none of you really care, but I'm gonna tell you anyway. I would say overall, Canada has better customer service and better consistent customer service. You can find better consistent customer service pretty much anywhere you go here.
There's still the bad ones.
There's still bad ones, obviously, but in the States I've noticed that majority of the places that we've went, and trust me, we've been a lot of places, and I mean, we're a border city, so we go to the States all the time, so we know. For the most part, we know certain states. You can get bad customer service anywhere, but again, it is depending on where you are there. Like, it's not everywhere, so I don't want anybody to say that, but we noticed specifically Florida was not great. And obviously we bordered Detroit, and Detroit's customer service sometimes is not the best either. But I've noticed Florida's a little worse, to be honest.
Yeah.
Where we were anyway, like Fort Lauderdale. No, it wasn't Fort Lauderdale.
Were we in Hollywood?
Hollywood, Florida. It was like the outskirts of Hollywood. I don't know what you would call that. And Miami, I can't remember if it was okay there. But wherever we were staying, it was like Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood, like that.
And some of them are not even rude. They're just not welcoming. Which...
Well, that's... Yeah.
Which I probably wouldn't be either.
No, probably
so,
not.
I can't even talk. I could never do that job, so... I'm not...
I've worked fast food and it's not fun.
Oh no, I would never do that job.
Actually,
it's hard.
So when I was 16, I was in high school. I worked at McDonald's for like a year and a half. And I actually really liked working at McDonald's because it was a very... For me, it was a very high school like job. Like a lot of people my age worked there. I worked weekend midnights, so it was like everyone I was surrounded by were like kids. Like we were running the whole store. Like it was just... But it was fun, and they treated us well, and they really worked well with like if you played sports or you had another job.
I heard McDonald's always treats their people well.
And actually, McDonald's was one of the reasons I got the job I was doing before. Like that was one of the main reasons I got that job was my McDonald's training, because they have one of the best training programs in Canada. And it looks better on college applications and everything. Like, McDonald's is very well known for that. So, don't knock working a fast food job as your first job.
You know what? I think people that do that are like kids. Like when you're a kid, like an actual kid, like like in grade school.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, you work at McDonald's? But then as you get like into it, like once you actually are able to work, you realize it's a really good job.
It is. Like, they treat, like I would say probably in the older ages, you know, if you work there, I'm sure I just know from people that I know that the pay increase is not nearly what it should be for you doing that job. Like, I've known people that have been there for 30 years.
I feel like there's so many jobs that deserve way much, like way more money that just don't, like I think anyone in customer service should make more money. They're dealing with like the shittiest part of the job. But people yelling at them.
There's also the PSWs that I'm like,
oh yeah,
I don't know what they're called in the States. People that you work in like an old age home or a retirement home, you take care of the elderly.
All healthcare workers deserve more money.
Yeah, I agree. That's one thing I will never disagree with. I don't care. And it will come out of our taxes anyway. Usually if it's like government, like hospitals and whatever. I don't know how
I would pay more money to have in my taxes. If all of their pay increased, I would do it. Like
the government did something for PSWs for like a COVID bonus. It's still not enough. Like they have to work through. They had to work all through COVID with immunocompromised patients. Yeah. Like you just.
There's so many jobs like that though that I feel just deserve so much more.
I know. Like influencers make too much money.
Yeah, we do. It's true.
I'm just kidding.
I should not be making more than a nurse.
Yeah, I know.
I just shouldn't. Like I'm not gonna sit here and lie.
I know.
I should not be making more than a nurse. I should not be making more.
But it's different because it's a lot of people will say that. Obviously, we're saying it, but it's because of the power of advertising. Like advertisers know the best place to go is influencers because they have their word means a lot more than a commercial, which absolutely makes sense. But
like there's people that are working like midnights and then they have kids in the daytime, and I feel like
it's hard.
I feel like if you're like I know you do get paid more for like overtime and stuff, but do you get paid more for midnights? Because I feel like you should.
So a lot of jobs will pay you like a midnight premium, but it's only like $1. So it doesn't.
It's almost offensive.
They actually, so it's funny that they always like, okay, do the math on this, okay? They always advertise like at a job, oh, midnight premium $1 or midnight premium $2. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't work out to much more money, and then by the time the tax man rolls around, it's almost equivalent. Like it just.
Wait, $1 more an hour?
Yeah, $1 more an hour.
So if you work 8 hours at midnight, you're making $8 more?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, it's usually $1 bump or like a $1.
Is that not offensive?
But
like that's almost like, why are you even doing it?
Like I'm not saying that's for every job, but I know a lot of jobs around here.
Right, every job is different.
Yeah, like I don't know about you guys in the States, but around here it's usually like $1 premium for
people
a
deserve
pay bump.
more.
Like when I was at McDonald's and I worked weekend midnights, I made $1 more. But I was working for student wage.
It's better than making the same, but it's really not. I don't know.
It's crazy.
I feel like the people, like, and I'm going to be the first to say that I'm paid too much money. I just am. I'm not going to say I'm rich, but
Like if you look at the
But if I look
picture.
at my income compared to other people who are working so much harder than me, like physically, mentally, all of that, it just doesn't seem fair.
Like I've said before, and like
Which is why I give back every time at Christmas on Patreon.
Yeah, but I've said before, like an influencer as a job is definitely a different type of difficult, where obviously you're being watched by everybody and judged by everybody and whatever. And obviously I was looking from the outside in for a long time, and then kind of being on the other side of it. I can say for both sides, like being an influencer is definitely a hard job. Having the creativity to be able to put out content for years and years and years is hard too. Like it's a different type of difficult, right?
Every job has like their pros and cons.
Yeah,
like
right.
I know for a fact, like the people that have to wake up and work for 14 hours on their feet, I couldn't do it. But then some people can think of, oh, I'm not creative, I couldn't do your job. So it's like everyone has their own thing, but everyone's job is just hard. Everyone has a hard part of their job. Even if they love their job, there's a hard part to it.
Yeah, some jobs just come with more stress. Some jobs just come with more physicality. Some, mentally, some jobs can be hard. So, it's in a lot of them, you really cannot compare. Like you're dealing with different things. Like there's no way you're ever going to compare like a brain surgeon to like a cashier. Like it just wouldn't translate.
The stresses will be different.
Oh, like way different. And the types of stress are different.
Right.
One is working on somebody and potentially you're responsible for their whole life right now. Like literally a lot of the surgeries they're doing could be a life or death surgery, and they're solely responsible for that.
And they have to be alert for like some of the surgeries are like 14 hours.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But then there's also the Walmart side
or you do like the cashier side where you're dealing with people
that are horrible.
Yeah, like that just treat you terrible, and the stress of like, I don't know, there's different types of stress in every job. So I know in the past I've definitely said like, oh, an influencer is one of the hardest jobs I've ever
me too.
But when you look at the bigger picture, like obviously I've worked in the workforce. I still do now again, but I could definitely say like you can't really invalidate the stress of anybody's job, because everybody has different types of stress in their job and different types of jobs. So I can't really sit here and say like, oh, an influencer is the hardest job I've ever, because even at my older jobs, like I've dealt with people that I'm like, dude, I'm on the verge of quitting because of you right now, because I just don't want to deal with you, and like I'm gonna say something I shouldn't want to say. But I've never done that because I was good at my job and I knew what to do and what not to do. But you deal with frustrating people that will challenge you every day. It's the same thing on the internet. You read a hate comment and you're like, okay.
The one thing that like my job has a lot more pros than it has cons, and I love that.
Oh yeah.
And I'm super thankful. But there is cons like every other job. But I'm not like I think I used to play in my pity more. Like I feel like a couple years ago I used to be like, oh, this job is so hard, it's so hard, it's so hard. And I think it's because my brain wasn't like when you're 16 or 17 or 18 or 19 or even 20, this job is a lot more hard than if I, like for right now when I'm 24. Because when someone says something mean to me when I was 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, even when I thought I was confident and I was strong, it still affected me. But as I'm getting older, I'm learning to how to protect my feelings by just not reading comments, or just like realizing that every person that leaves a hate comment has no photo. So,
yeah,
and not the real name. So it's like, I think a couple years ago, I've definitely had videos where I'm like, oh, nobody understands what it's like to be an influencer. And that's true, but I also don't know what it's like to have to like report to a boss and have to go in when you don't feel good, and like all of those things that I could never do. Or like I have major anxiety. I couldn't imagine going to work with anxiety. Like I just couldn't.
Right.
So as I'm getting older, I'm realizing more of everyone else's problems. I mean, I never thought my job was like the worst job. I never thought that. I was always thankful for it, but I don't know. I think it's just like, I don't see a lot of influencers actually admit that they couldn't do a regular job.
I think most of them, some of them that have come from regular jobs and like made that transition, like obviously, but it's hard to go back.
I'm not gonna say, obviously if I had to go get a regular job, I hopefully could. I don't know if I'd get hired, but I hopefully could. Like I physically could, mentally could, but I don't know if I actually could, like with my resume, because I have nothing on my resume at 24. But I know that it would be harder for me, and I know it would be a huge mental struggle to be able to do that. And so I applaud people that do that. And like some people have 2 or 3 jobs and are single mothers. Like it's just, and people are still struggling, and that's what bothers me. Like nowadays, like I remember like we've all talked about this multiple times, how back in the day it was like one person could work at like a factory or
and support the whole family
and have an actual house with land. Now it's like you have 2 people working and you can't afford a house, and like it will be 2 people with good, I mean quote unquote good paying jobs that are above minimum wage, and people are still not affording stuff. Like
you could be, it's all depending, right? Like
it depends where you live too.
Yeah,
like,
but it is true. Like we are definitely in a crisis right now that I think everyone is aware of. But
and the older generation thinks that we're just lazy, which bothers me.
Yeah, that is. But you know, there are people in every and this is what I've said. So actually, this is the point I'll make about that. There are people in every, and I've talked about this before, there are people in every generation that fit the generational stereotype. There are people in our generation that are lazy, that are unmotivated, that don't want to work, that don't care to work, and that think that everything's going to be handed to them, right? That is true. And there's people in the generation before that and the generation before that. Like it stems from every generation.
That's true.
But remember the comedy show we went to? We went and saw Russell Peters, and he said something that I was like, I've never thought of it this way. But he said, he's like, because he's like 50 something years old, and he said, people in my generation are so mad at millennials and like people like 25-year-olds and whatever, and we're so mad at you. But he's like, but we made you this way because we're your parents.
And they invented everything that we're using.
And they said, oh, we're so mad at them for being lazy for the internet. We created that. Like people in his generation and older were responsible for creating the internet, for creating computers, for creating,
and to make things more easy for the next generation. And a lot of our parents worked really hard so we didn't have to.
Right.
So it's like, it was just funny, like the way that he was wording it.
Because I never really thought about the fact that like
everything they complain about,
everything we use, everything that we're using now, the cameras, the phones, whatever, were created by people older than us.
Uber Eats.
Are created by the like 50, 60, 70 like,
and then they're mad that we're lazy.
Yeah, like they're the ones who created the life to be able to do this.
Mind you, some of the people that are lazy have never worked a job.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you guys are lazy, and they never worked a job because their husband was able to pay for everything.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah,
what?
It's kind of ironic.
Anyways.
But I mean, they had a different job. But
yeah, stay at home.
Yeah, but I mean, that was a great point that he made. And like, you know, if you look at anybody, if anybody ever says that to you and you're like in the 20-year-old age range, like 20 to 30, whatever, and they say, oh, your generation's lazy, and
you guys created it.
If you're so mad about it, why did you parent us that way? And I'm not saying we're all like that, because I know I'm definitely not like that. My parents never instilled that in me. My parents always wanted me to work. I was working at as early as I could get a job. I had a job.
I don't think we're lazy. I think we are we're not lazy. Our generation is not lazy because we can't be lazy. No, you can't.
We've definitely succumbed to the technology, though.
I think we just have more things accessible, and I think they're jealous.
Well, yeah, I mean...
How is me not getting groceries lazy? I'm still getting groceries. Just because they're delivered to my door doesn't mean I'm lazy. Do I want to go? No, but I'm saving time so I can work more jobs so that I can afford to live, because I have to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also think... I know, I mean, at least in Canada, you get, like, baby bonus, and you get, like, all that when you're a stay-at-home mom, but I think there should be, like, a stay-at-home mom, like, income, like, from the government. Like, a full, like, income.
How?
I don't know.
Would that work?
There just should be. I'm not saying that I'm gonna figure it out how it's gonna work. I'm just saying that there should be.
Yeah.
Because it's not fair, because just because one parent's outside of the house working and one parent is in the house working, but one's bringing in income, doesn't mean they're both not working. And, like, stay-at-home moms too, like, after the husband comes home, they'll be, like, still cleaning, they'll be still cooking, and they'll let the husband sit because they've been at work, quote unquote, at work all day. And so the husband's like, oh, I just came home from work and I'm making the money, so I'm gonna sit at home ever since I got home. But how come the mother is still doing everything till nighttime? They also woke up at that time and have been working in the house all day.
I get your point. I understand what you're trying to say, that Yeah, I understand what you're trying to say. I know it could never, logically it doesn't make sense for like that to ever be able to work, but I get what you're trying to say. Yes, they work a job too.
Yes.
But their job has no income.
So?
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's no possible way for the government to be like, let's pay them this much money.
I know, but it's like, I don't know. It
because
just doesn't
that's
make
something
sense.
that
Because then they expect you to pay for daycare, but then you're just all your income's going to daycare.
Well, of course,
so it makes no sense.
There's definitely a crisis, and they say, I don't know if you guys saw an article about this, but they're saying that groceries are going up another 7% next year.
Nice.
So, if you thought it was unaffordable now, it's going to keep going. So, yeah, it is a bad time right now for everybody.
No matter what you do, there's something that's like, if you're working too much, you're not seeing your kids enough. If you're at home too much, you're not making enough. If you have 3 jobs, you're too busy and you're tired. It's just so not fair.
But
everything's just not fair.
But see, for me, I have the mentality where if I had to go work, which I will, I absolutely will. Like, when it comes time, you know, if we want to start a family or whatever, right? And she can't go get a job, and let's say YouTube kind of takes a dip or whatever happens, and I had to work 48, 50, 56 hours a week to support our family, like, obviously that's a sacrifice that I have to make, and I will make. Without an issue, I will make that sacrifice. But it's kind of like the double-edged sword, where it's like, you're working this much to support your family, and you have to work that much to support your family, and on the flip side of the sword is you're not seeing your family and you're not spending time with your kids and whatever, right? So it's kind of
it's a hard thing that you have to choose. It really is.
But the thing is there's actually no choice.
Yeah, there isn't.
You have to work to provide, and you have to make this money.
Right.
So
it's sad.
It's sad. It is sad. And that's why I think, like, but that's the traditional way too, is like the man goes to work, you know, but that's not the times we're living in anymore. And
yeah, but they're still struggling. Everyone's
exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Still struggling.
You literally, even if you wanted to do that, you probably couldn't. And like, even if you're both working a job, it's probably still hard out there right now.
Everything is just hard.
Yeah.
I don't even want to read the comments on this video, because I know someone's gonna take something I said and turn it into something it's not, and everyone's gonna be offended in the comments. And I mean, I'm hoping some people actually watch the whole video and don't just like take one thing and just run with it.
Yeah, I don't know though, because I don't think anything we're saying is
someone will find something.
Yeah, whatever, they can find it, it's okay. But I don't know. Anyway, this, I don't even know how this video turned into this, because we didn't really have an agenda.
Yeah, but people, I mean, some of you guys said that you like when we talk about like adult things, so.
Yeah. Started my job, by the way, guys. If you're this far into the video, I'm just gonna put that out there. So yeah, it's going good. Lots to learn. Anyway.
Anyways, we have a long day today.
Mm-hmm.
So I started off with Wendy's. Mostly because I don't think I'm gonna eat much after this. But yeah, so. We love you guys. Thanks for watching. Our mukbangs aren't even mukbangs. They're just like talking. Yeah. But I think you guys like it, so. Go to Wendy's if you haven't had Wendy's breakfast. It's so good. It is really filling though. Honestly, I was talking when I was eating, so I wasn't realizing how full I was, but I probably would have stopped like halfway into that sandwich. It's so filling. Like, everything is so filling. But with McDonald's, it's like I'm a bottomless pit. I can just like eat 17 burritos and like a million hash browns. Anyways, I love you guys. Thanks for watching.
Bye, guys.